Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spotlight, my little show here where I get to talk to really awesome, amazing people. And tonight, I am very happy to be presenting to you the official David Bianco. So as soon as David joins in here, which he is there right now, we'll bring him on. David is an actor, producer, one-on-one coach, father of three, love to Jen, and also, what else did we see on here? An empath. I'd love to get into that if we have time for that. David, let's get you on. Oh, goodness. There we are. Okay, good. It looked like it wasn't working from my side. I was like, no, not this one, please, no. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing great, Melanie. Thank you for having me on. This is really a pleasure. It's a long time coming, but hey, better late than never.
It is, and I apologize. I've been wanting you on this show for a long time. I took a long hiatus while I had two different moves and finally landed in the spot that I am just loving life down here. So thank you for being one of the first back on the shows, and glad you're here.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's not every day we get to do this, and it just feels like, with everything that you have going on and the different things going on in my life, it just seemed like the right time.
That is true. So speaking of what you have going on, I first wanted to check in and see how your family is doing. And if we have this time, if you need to go at all, just let me know, because I know you have a really awesome team system there. So
Yeah,
anything you need on that front, please let me know.
thank you. I the key is locking the door, so I feel like as long as the door is locked, we're pretty safe.
They haven't figured out like the coin trick to unlock
No,
it.
no, they haven't found the pin to like poke. Yeah,
Oh, it's one
no,
of those. Those are harder.
they are. So we're good. People have been fed. Jen's got the kids, and I'm good. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and jump in if you don't mind. I like the reason of this show. Number one, I just enjoy talking to amazing artists like yourself. But other than that, I also want to inspire people to do the work, to celebrate the work that you've done and the guests that are on here, and to really encourage other people. So I kind of like to give a refresher of like where you began, how's it going now, what are your future goals, and different things that you can share with those aspiring to act or any other venture. There's a lot of things that you can share that people can learn from. So can you tell me about going back to the beginning, like where did you first get into acting?
Well, I've been acting my whole life with my siblings. I have two brothers, two sisters, and we grew up on the outskirts of a little town called Ypsilanti, Michigan. Michigan people do it. You know what? It's just what it is. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, my family had some land. My parents moved from Minnesota out to Michigan. And, they were part of a community of people, and all these families had like little plots of land, and they all were like doing a little bit of farming and like, kind of, I guess, harkening back to some of their roots in North Dakota and Minnesota, like just a little bit more open space, community oriented. I make the peppers, you make the salsa, we're going to make some bread together and have all the families together, and just like, and so like my upbringing was like all about that. And so kind of like the community angles, like really sort of my interest in community building, like started there. And of course, acting is a part of being a part of a community of people. It's not just yourself.
Yeah.
Up there doing your thing. Although people think it's
Can
that.
you? I was just going to say, can you repeat that again? Because I think some people really need to hear that, and not in a negative sense. I think it really is helpful. Like if you get that early on, it's so helpful.
Yeah. I think I was introduced to it early on at that time, but I don't think like, coming full circle as an adult and like seeing. Hi, Steve. Seeing like what that looks like as an adult, like that's a totally different thing, because you have all those life experiences. Then you're like, oh yeah, maybe what they were actually instilling in me, like right out of the gate, was the right thing. And then being a parent, then you're like, okay, now I'm older. I know it worked. So now I can go ahead and I will instill these things in my kids and keep that going. So, as a father, seeing that the sort of reaping the benefits and bearing the fruits of that type of an upbringing, it's very rewarding now to kind of, teach those things in our own way, Jennifer and I. But the acting started then. We had 4 or 5 acres of land, and we were outside in the backyard building traps, digging holes. I think we tried to dig to China at least once. We had zip lines. I mean, we had go-karts, mini bikes. It's kind of like, I don't even talk about it that much because I feel like people will be like, oh man, you had that type of lifestyle. But like, I had that type of, that's just what it was, and my parents were hardworking, and, just, it was a grind, but it was a beautiful lifestyle. And I think that's where kind of all the acting and the love of acting began. Just playing make-believe. And, like a lot of people, you take an acting class in high school. For me, I was in an elite choir. We sang around the dinner table. I come from like a very charismatic Christian background,
awesome.
actually. Yeah. My
So
parents brought that. And so like singing around the table, even when it came to like going to high school and jumping into choirs, like that was a very natural thing. It was not weird for me to like get up and sing in front of people. And so
I've heard that from other people before, and it's just like,
really?
I try to like put myself in that type of environment where there's just like music playing and people just jumping in here and jumping. I'm just like, that's cool, but I would just totally kill dinner once I went.
Well, and that's another part of the community building, because my parents, I would say once a week we had another guest over. It was somebody who was somebody's friend who was in town, or somebody was hosting people, and they're always looking for like things to do in the community. Like you come into the community, then it's like, okay, you got to go visit the Redentes. Oh yeah, and these people have nice kids. They're about the age of your kids, and like that's literally what they just like. They do that, and so, or they did that, and so those sort of musical talents. I would say if there was anything that was just like a natural thing that I have, that is actually singing, and most people do not know me as a singer, which is...
I saw some video.
You did? Well, some people do. Different chapters of my life people do. But I would say in this chapter, in like the Chicago chapter, no. Well, now they do, thanks to you.
They'll go scrolling.
Yeah, but in high school, I just, I was in that choir, and then I made some unsavory decisions, which are now legal for the record, but at the time they were not, and got me kicked out of choir. Yeah, got me kicked out of choir, and I took a drama class and got into doing musicals, because musicals were natural for me. Stacy, you know this? What? No, you didn't know that. What? Are you serious? No. Joe. Oh, yes, they have seen me between takes. So I have a couple of my colleagues in here. Joe Kloss, he is the writer and producer of one of the pilots that I worked on last year called Refresh. And yes, there was a lot of singing happening between takes. Okay, maybe there's a few people, let me reframe that, who know about this. And Stacy, of course, and I have worked together, and she knows my singing. So people who work with me here, maybe they know. How about that? Is that a better?
That works. Is this something that you do consciously, or just kind of just part of who you are? Because it does sound like you grew up with it. So I don't know. Did it just come out?
Good question. I think it's just, I think when your mind and like sort of your spirit gets conditioned to have melodies or harmonies, like that's a part of a bigger orchestration, and you have the opportunity, if you want to like play that note like in your life, like when you're by yourself. A lot of people do it in the shower, right?
Yep.
And they finally feel like safe to do it, and we always laugh. We laugh about people doing it in the shower, but
the car in the shower.
Yeah, it's the only times you're really alone. You're like, nobody can hear me, I'm safe. You're in a safe place. And I think like at least for me, being on stage and singing felt like a safe place for me. And it's not, you know, I had a wonderful upbringing, so it wasn't like I was rebelling against a happy life. What am I rebelling against? But it was more like just pushing boundaries, you know, as an actor, as a human, wanting to like try the system early in life and like see what that looks like. And I feel like through acting, that's what I've found to be very rewarding about the human experience, is trying to push boundaries, and sometimes you have to give up things in your, you know, in your psyche and your understanding of the world to be able to jump into other characters. Otherwise, you're not really going to be able to fully understand the character, or you'll be acting like you're understanding the character, but you don't really understand the character. But if you really want to understand the character, you have to change your mindset. And most people, you know, we get in certain patterns, and it's very, very difficult to do that. So that's why I love creatives. That's why I love the creative community, because everybody, if it's a makeup artist, if it's a lighting designer, if it's, you know, an editor, sound design, whatever it is, everybody brings that sort of sensitivity to the table. And when you have all those people working together, it's kick ass. That's what I like to do. That's what I'm all about. That's all I want to be a part of, you know, apart from my wonderful family here and making memories with them and raising kids with Jennifer and loving life. It's just, that's kind of the groove I'm in right now.
That's beautiful, man. I can just feel that warmth, and all of that is so wonderful and beautiful.
Thank you.
The official Steve Bernstein said you are a wonderful actor and an even better human, and I'm definitely agreeing with that.
That's so nice. Thanks, Steve.
Got a whole bunch of love in here. Not only singing. Oh, that was Stacey. Okay, got that one. One thing that jumped out to me when you were talking about pushing the boundaries and exploring, how can that, kind of jumping into a little bit maybe more of the coaching role that you do so well, auditions and that sort of thing kind of just really jumped into my mind, and the beginning actor, or you know, someone maybe that's not very good at auditions, and even, you know, once you get the part and are wanting to explore and push those boundaries, how do you think someone can get to the level where, you know, they've gone through different training and they think that they have to do this the right way, they have to have, you know, your headshot has to look this way, has to do all this, you have to slate just right, now go be free and push the boundaries? Like, can you get someone to that point if they're not used to being that open and free, they weren't raised in that type of environment? What do you think you know, I know there's probably many different things, it takes time, but is there anything that jumps out to you that would be helpful for those beginning actors to just let loose a little bit?
Great question. Glad you asked. I would say, first of all, you have to remember this is fun. If we're in this and we're not having fun, we're attacking it in a completely wrong way. So for starters, if you're not having fun and you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just find an excuse, courteously excuse yourself from the project, find out if there's another role on the team that seems better suited for you if you still want to be a part of production. Some people get into it as an actor and realize they want to be a director, or they get into it as an actor and they realize, I love telling stories and I thought I wanted to be the actor, but actually I just want to be the writer. And so I feel like with my clients and with future potential clients, it's part of it is having those initial interviews and having some questionnaires that go out to really sort of understand the scope of the background of someone, what they want to do, what their goals are, how willing they are to sort of commit to that. And everybody has an ideal client. So I'm interested in working with people who are motivated. And I know that a coach is there to sort of take a motivated individual over the top and push them. But if you just don't have motivation, I would just say, hey, you know, maybe there's a different coach who has a lot of time to sort of try and motivate you. But like, if somebody's just not motivated and they like the idea of it, I'd say get a nice camera or try shooting some material with a friend, get in front of the camera, do some playbacks. Get excited about like the process of filmmaking and figure out if it's you want to be in front of the camera or you want to be behind the camera, or do you want to write the stories, or do you want to do the edit? But part of like what I like to do is kind of figure a bunch of that out on the front end and I record my sessions so that people can watch it back. I can see if they're genuine about their feelings, about what they look like on camera. They can hear from me as many times as they need to, advice, or I'm just being transparent, like you and I are talking right now. I'm in the exact same spot that I coach from. This is exactly what we do, and we talk about process and overcoming some hurdles. We get into the auditions, and for somebody who's starting, there is a lot of stuff that you need out of the gate, you know. But I tell my clients, I say, this might be the only time in your life that you get to decide what type of role you want to be doing. If you're going to be investing in your demo reels or your look or whatever, this is your hard-earned money that you're putting forward, or somebody's hard-earned money that you're spending on this. And the point is, in this business, people say, oh, you look like this person, you're like that person, I think you should play this. And as actors, most of us are very impressionable and vulnerable, because we want to find our place in the business, and we're excited if we're validated in this way or that way. And oh, is this what it means to like push a boundary? Okay, maybe that's not a cool person I want to hang out with. This project's weird. Like, there's so many different variables that go into pushing into an acting career, moving into the indie scene, adjusting and looking at the network television and bigger feature film scenes. Like, they're all progressions of each other. But on a very basic level, it comes back to community and relationships and being honest with yourself. And if at the get-go you can say, hey, I know I don't look like a love interest, people aren't going to consider me for this role, but gosh darn it, I've wanted to play that. Well, guess what? You better write a story that makes sense, where you could play that character. And when it makes sense, take the time to find a cast that it's going to make sense with. Invest in the actual demo scene so it really looks like something that we could believe in. You are painting the picture for the casting directors and your agents. If you come to the table with really exciting dynamite content, they're going to say, I never thought I'd see you like that, but you know what, I just think I could probably pitch you to this casting director and you could be that wild card. We always see casting like that. You're like, it was supposed to be this, but ended up being this.
Yeah.
This is why people took a chance, and they had material that either they invested in or they did some little indie project where they saw it, and their agent was like, here, take a look at this, and they're like, boom. So we never know. So I like to be at the beginning of this whole like ball rolling, and really encourage people to say, if that's what you want to do, you know, I'm the type of person who wants to go on the edge too. I'm just sort of on the edge in a good way, but like, I'll ride the wave with you and support you and get you as far as I can. If it's getting an agent, you know, I will work with you to see that through. If it's, you know, you want to, whatever it is, whatever form of this preparation process. And I usually like hash out action plans for people, and then we just follow through that weekly or every other week, moving through pilot season, whatever it is, whatever their goals are. We find out what the goal is and we work backwards together. So that there's real accountability. I can't stress that enough. Being married for all these years, if I don't have accountability, I'm sunk. I'm just a guy trying to do the best he can. But with accountability, you can be better than just trying. You can actually do it. And that's what I tell my students, not students, my colleagues who are working with me.
Yeah. What I really enjoyed through that is the energy that you bring. I can tell just how really immersed you are in the joy part. Like, this is just what you love doing, and it totally shines. And I can see that, like, going through your posts, I see how excited you are when, you know, one of your colleagues that's working with you gets a booking, or, you know, does really well on audition or something like that. It's just that joy. I always tell people that, you know, if you're feeling that naturally, then you're on the right path. Like, you're doing the thing that you love. So it just, so you know, it's like totally shines from you, and it's beautiful to see. I love when people are in alignment with what it is they love doing. So
thank you. Thank you. And that's why I like working with you too. You and I will figure out some projects to do together. I feel like we are two light bulbs. We're far apart, but we figure something out. We will figure something out.
It will show itself when it's ready. So awesome. And this, like I said, it was time for this, and thank you so much for being on here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Let's jump into, you know, some of the roles that you've done, looking in the past, because you've done, you know, producing, you've done theater, you've done TV, films, feature films, shorts, all of that. Probably a bunch of stuff I've missed as well.
That's
What
basically it. Yeah.
are there any things that you, I mean, the things that you jump out to you that you just really had an amazing time? I know a lot of it you had an amazing time, but are there any key things that jump out to you, or any things that you want us to run back, even if it's an old movie or something like that, to go out and see?
Wow. Oh man. I would say a lot of like, I know we're talking about like film, television, these types of projects. But like some of my most memorable experiences were as a silver man painted up in silver.
I watched that last night. It was awesome.
Oh, you did? You did?
It was awesome.
You
Yes.
did?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
So I
It's not
feel
if
like,
after this, go to his profile, and I don't think it was that far back, but just go. It looks like you're set up for an audition, and it's just watch it. It's silver suit. Yeah. But go ahead, continue. I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, you're totally good. You're totally good. Yeah, you can hear the whole story of what I won't tell you here. It'll just drive traffic to my, you're a genius, marketing genius. I know. I'm on to you.
You've got to watch it. That's all. I'm sorry. You got to watch it. I was watching last night, and I don't even think I liked it because I think it was late, and I know you like pay attention to stuff, and it was later there, so I didn't want to bug you, but I loved it.
Thank you. So I do think that the idea of going into sort of a meditative state when you move into a character is like transformative. And to an extent where, as a silver man, going in and reappearing after 9 hours and not really remembering what happened, but having like $350 or $400 in my bucket with a bunch of like phone numbers and people like just encouraging, or whatever it is, like just coming home, relaxing, having paint smeared everywhere, turning on the Victrola. Jen's there next to me, stacking quarters and dimes and pennies, talking about things we can remember from the experience, and just like feeling a part of like the art, but knowing that I had so many like important moments with people. And they all have the pictures. I don't have the pictures, but I feel like if I were to go back and say, hey guys, come back with me to New York, come back with me to Spain, come with me to the Philippines, China, London, like have a beer with me and let's hang out. Like that's what I would really wish, almost more importantly than any of the roles I've actually played, because I don't know, it's theater, and it's also, I don't know, there's just something so personal about that made me feel so alive, because it was both theatrical and there was sort of I don't know.
Real.
It was
Yeah.
real. Yeah, it's a weird
Yeah.
hybrid thing. It's a different thing altogether. I know that doesn't totally answer your question, but it's
Oh, it
the
does.
first thing I thought
It
of
does.
when you asked me.
That's awesome. And what stood out to me there was when you said, you know, you go into that meditative state, and then when you come out, you don't remember it. Like you're going deep. You're going deep.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, I figured like in the morning, if I had like a cup of oatmeal, a coffee, like one scoop of peanut butter and a little bit of sugar mixed together, that combination, it could sustain me for like 7 hours, because you basically start to shut different systems down. I would stop sweating altogether, and it would just be about breath and control, and it was coming from this place of joy. So each person that I didn't just like, you give me money and I'm like, I'm gonna start dancing. I learned how to be still first, and I wouldn't move. That was my first.
That's so hard.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so hard.
yeah. And you have to figure out how to breathe super shallow, and then you also realize when there's, 30, 40 people around you, how do your heart, you feel like people can see your heart pounding out of your chest. You really think that, because you're like, oh my gosh,
That darn heart again.
yeah, somebody's gonna blow on me. I'm gonna like fall over, like, and it's like controlling, and so I just found myself, learning how to breathe and have comfort with people in large groups. And so I feel like, as far as a director or a producer or a part of like a bigger team, I've existed in those places of stillness with high pressure where people are totally scrutinizing me. And I fail just like everybody else. That happens. It's totally part of my process, and have failed many times, and I'm sure will in the future. But I feel like I can generally stay collected in a lot of high pressure situations and bring people together. And that's just, it comes back to that again. Like that's just another reinforcement of the childhood. And I'm surprised, but not surprised, you know?
Yeah. Wow. That even adds so much more to what I saw last night. Thank you.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. My
Oh,
pleasure. Watch the video.
definitely. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, so from there, jumping into more recent projects that you're
Yeah.
working on, what do you have going on that we can go see right now or coming out soon? What are some of the things you'd like us to know about?
Okay. Well, I don't know how soon it's going to come out, but I think production is almost done with it, and I know the edit has been ongoing, but Algea got a pay.
How I Found You.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Yes, I would say like that is like a project that I'm very, very excited about to like see that. I don't know where it's gonna come out. There's rumors. I'm not gonna say anything. Who knows where it's gonna come out? It has to get done first, right? By the way, today's JD's birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
JD.
birthday, JD. Woo!
You better not be like, hey Ryan, you better not be tuning in. I think you're out eating with the family. So salute. And what I would say about him though, just because, you know, honoring is a part of my tradition, my family, is just so much respect for him as a man, as a father, as a husband, hardworking man, and he's a community builder too. And he's somebody who wants to build bridges, and I feel like those are the type of people that I want to be my friends and build stuff, you know. And so, you know, when he and I started communicating through Instagram a long time ago, and I was really just harassing him because I saw the shoebox, the trailer for the shoebox and the poster, and I was like, this is phenomenal.
Yep.
For the record, folks, is that on Tubi TV? Is it out right now, the shoebox?
You can, I don't know where you can see it. I believe it is out. I believe it's been out for a while, I
Yeah.
think.
Look that up, friends. It's
The
phenomenal.
Shoebox, yeah.
The shoebox, wow. And so I saw that, and then I just thought, like, man, I need to find out this guy's story. And then I started scrolling through his Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And I started sending him stuff. And, like, eventually, you know, he said, hey, you know what? I think I got a film that I'm working on. And I think you'd be good for this role or that role. And I was like, okay. And he said, get back to me in 3 months. I got back to him in 3 months. And for all my
Follow up.
acting, yeah, my acting
Yeah.
colleagues out there, this is literally how you do it. You go where the energy is. And he wanted, you know, he was open to, you know, me harassing him and, like, you know, sending him videos. And really it had to do with, like, what am I doing? It's just, as an actor, I always tell my clients, life is all about process. And so that is what I encourage people when they're connecting with other people, is to talk about process. Like, the most successful people talk about process.
Yep.
We've watched documentaries about process.
Study it all day long.
We spend our life looking at process. And why should your process be any greater or less significant as the next person's? And at some point, when you make it, you're going to look back on that. So start talking about it. Start having that trail of what the beginning looked like, and don't shy away from it. Lean into it. And if you're going to fail, fail big.
I love that. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Yes. Yes. Gotta go big. And
Go big or go home.
Yep.
So that's one project that I'm looking forward to. And then a pilot I was shooting called Refresh. It's a science fiction project by Kloss Productions. Very excited about that. We're going to start shopping it. We're going to see where it goes, what happens with it. But I played the lead in that. And I don't even want to spoil anything about it. We just need to get distribution for it and find out what's going to happen with it. But I would say, like, that community of filmmakers, Dallas, Ashley, Joe, Jen, they have a number of different projects going on, and I've been able to work with them on each other's projects, and there's cross promotions and all sorts of wonderful things, camaraderie, friendship here in Chicago with those folks specifically. And I'm looking forward to that one. What else? I just finished a short film called Encounters, where I produced that. And it's about encounters, and I'm a lead actor in that project. Marley, I don't know if he's tuning in here, but Marley D'Angelo sought me out, had an interview, had an audition, only to find out that another friend of mine had already recommended me for the project. And, you know, I got the job like the next day or whatever. And then he reached out to me and said, "Hey, Dave, I need some help on the production side." And I'm literally dying to have people have me produce their projects, because I know so many wonderful people here, Salt Lake City, friends out in Los Angeles, friends in New York, friends in Atlanta. And it just feels so good to be like, well, what do you need? Like, one of my colleagues earlier, Dan, was like, "I want to shoot a movie in Colorado, bro. You know anybody in Denver?" Well, yeah, one of our friends just moved out there, has his own production company. They're connecting up and going to make a movie together, shoot a feature in the summertime.
Yes.
And it's like, I literally feel like that's just like a part of what it is. And you can't have like no joy and like do that. I mean, people will do that anyway, but I feel like this is a business where you have to earn a living, obviously, but if you're always trying to get your cut from everybody's projects, there's sort of like a competitive like weirdness about it. I just don't want to have the competitive weirdness. So I'd rather just connect the people and trust at a certain point, my projects are going to come, our projects are going to come. I'm going to support you. If you don't want to support me, I can't do anything about you not supporting me. Like,
it's an energy flow. It'll come back. It always
I'm gonna
does.
keep going. Like, you don't want to be a part of the ride? Okay.
And that's just, you know, people shutting off the flow. And it's sad to watch, because the more that, you know, people are like yourself and you just open up and you know, feel the vibes. If it's just not a project, not for you, that's a different thing. But you know,
projects, for sure.
So yeah, it'll come back, and it's
for sure. But those, I would say those are like the most immediate projects. I'm in another film called Magic Savior, which I helped co-produce. You know, that film's been submitted for 50 film festivals. We'll see what the festival run turns out to be. But it's all about planting seeds. And, you know, some of my goals, first quarter here, I wanted to work on 3 different short films, produce them. Jennifer and I are starting our own production company. And so we're getting our LLC stuff in order. And, you know, because it's like when you're a coach and then you're like producing and then I'm also going to be directing something later in the summer. And it's like, when you're doing all those things, let's just put them under an umbrella. Let's just figure out the proper channels for like doing all this to synthesize it and be smart about the business side. And it's so critical for actors to think, you know, outside the box. We have to when we're developing stuff like roles and internalizing roles. But then so much of this has to do with, you're playing the waiting game. Are you working on your craft? Are you developing material for other people? Are you working on your reels? Are you doing your social media? And it's like, all these things. But when you're working from a joyful place and you're building up and encouraging other people, it just feels good. And I feel like as long as I'm working from that place in myself, I'm good. You know, my kids give me so much energy every day. My wife gives me so much great energy every day. So, you know, as long as I'm just kind of keeping those other elements consistent, like, I'm good.
That's awesome. And you have just such a beautiful family, and all of that joy comes out. You see the balance, you know, it again, it flows so beautiful and so well. And I did have the question of, you know, you have on your Instagram about being an empath who connects intuitively, but really, like, as we're going through here, like, some of the questions you're answering in your answers are like literally some of the questions I had written out verbatim. And I'm like, okay, well, that works. He just knows exactly
You
my
just
question.
check them off. You just check them off.
Absolutely. But really, like, where does that come from? And where do you feel like, was that something from an early age that you felt really just in tune, or how did you come about, being able to call yourself that and really connecting to it? Because I think a lot of people
Yeah.
have a lot of different stuff going on, but they don't really know how to connect to that and really, I guess, claim it.
Yeah. I think it comes from, like, at least for me, sort of being raised in this charismatic Christian environment and people feeling comfortable, like, praying. Like, if you're a person who prays, like, truly, like, has faith, you're believing in something you literally cannot see. You are sitting there holding your hands and praying, hoping, believing, thinking about somebody, and there's no tangible thing that you can actually, like, you're not making a sandwich,
It's very humbling to acknowledge the power that's, outside of us. If some people see it outside or inside, but a power
Yeah.
other than the ego, the us, the
Yes.
whatever it's very humbling.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And I think, like, when you foster that in your kids and your kids see that, like, like, my parents just had that, that was just a normal thing. That was totally normal. In fact, everything outside of, like, what I experienced was foreign. And in the same way that you said, like, earlier, if I went to your house and, like, you guys were singing, I'd be, like, sitting there like this. Well, we'd give you a tambourine. If you didn't want to sing, we'd let you bang the tambourine,
Or if I started singing, you would hurry up and give me a tambourine.
Yeah, or you can have a spoon, you can bang on a plate. And so I think, like, sort of just
Hi, Craig. Sorry, I had to say hello.
Yeah, just, like, having, like, that sensitivity, sort of normalizing that. If that's how you want your family to be, like, integrated, like, if you want that to be a part of your life. In my case, like, I didn't have a choice. Like, that's just what it was, And so I think as I grew older, maybe my high school years, I was doing this singing, and I feel like as long as you're doing something creative that's, like, nurturing your spirit, whether you can articulate it or not, your soul, your inner being is being fed. And so I feel like even though I wasn't, like, commenting on it, I was still a part of, like, a community where we were singing and I was experiencing something. I'd be crying I mean, even sometimes thinking about the songs that we would sing. When I start singing in specific registers, sometimes I cannot even help it. I don't know if it's just, like, a physiological thing or what. Like, it just, my eyes, and I'm like, I don't know. And it just, or the words, just saying certain words in certain registers.
Words are so strong. They're
Oh
just
my
like,
gosh. Oh my, well, here's my thinking. Yeah, here's my thinking.
Yeah.
So, like, as an experiment, I'd be curious to work with actors who are singers and find out what their favorite songs are, like, really favorite songs, and then figure out what their registers are, and then, like, get them singing those songs in an environment that they feel comfortable in, and then go right into their monologues, like, after it. Repeat certain phrases, like loop like the chorus or the bridge, some part of the song that really resonates, and you sing that just like a Meisner technique, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and they're singing a call and response until you cut it out, and then you jump right into your scene and you record your audition, so you have them already sunk into the role. You've got their imagination going, you've got those patterns in their heartbeat and their psychological, like, constitution, like, articulated, and you record it and you start sending off a couple of those to casting directors. Woo! I'd be excited.
Wow. Almost feels like cheating the system.
But
it's
that's
not. It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It is, but it's like, that's what we're doing. Like, even if you're sitting there imagining, I'm going to imagine what I'm doing. Well, that's kind of the same thing. It's just like that's why the coaching side is so unique, because it's like each one of us is a puzzle. And if I know what your goal is, but so many of us don't really know what our goal is. That's a whole other side of this. Right?
Yeah, that is. But I mean, like, if you do have an idea, at least some direction that they want to go in, like that, it's so great to be a person on the outside and say, hey, why don't we try this? Because, you know, being the one that, if you're unsure, like, I don't know if I want to try this. And, you know, someone like yourself that's been doing the work, have a lot of success, is saying, hey, let's try this, then you're open. Like
Yeah.
someone else saying, hey, do this, then you're just like, all right, let's do it. And it releases that barrier that
Right.
so many of us have, you know.
Right,
And
right, right. Right. Well, I'm scared to do it too, you know, like as an actor, like I'm terrified. And I feel like a lot of directors will think, oh, he's done some stuff. He's a seasoned actor. He's a veteran actor. I'm just going to trust his instinct. And I think
Direct us.
I think for directors, yeah, I would say that's like an area where, and maybe like established directors don't care. And maybe new directors are worried of what the actors are going to say, or nobody's actually coached them on how to direct. Some schools
or they just have different styles, just like actors.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember doing a play, and this, I'm not gonna out this director, but he didn't give me one note the whole time, and I was thinking like, I'm like, either I'm doing it totally right or totally wrong.
Yeah, you feel lost. Like you're like, just give me something.
Yeah.
Give me something.
Yeah, and I just, you know, I don't want that to be the type of dynamic that I have with my clients. That terrifies me. I want them to feel like, you know, this guy's gonna go to bat for me, and on a personal level, you know, he cares about my well-being. And, you know, if there's something going on in my life that I'm not able to, you know, fully participate and be there for this class, he's gonna be understanding. He's not gonna be like this is another human, like helping me sort of bring out my best self to the work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I actually care about. I just care about people bringing their best self. So if one day your best self is, you feel pretty shitty, but you decided, I'm just going to show up. Fuck it. I want to show up for myself. And in basketball terms, if it's a superstar that only puts up 20 points, but they get 20 rebounds that day, and they did something else, and they looked at it in a different way, and they felt changed, they can still put in the work. That's fine with me, you know. So I don't even know what this question was originally, but I got sorry
we
about
went
that.
together. No, we went together. It's all great.
We're whittling away the shape. What was the question?
Man, now you put me on the spot.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Well, we were talking about things that are coming up and like different projects, and I have 3 feature films that'll be happening back to back to back here, which I'm pretty nervous about because
You've got this.
I know,
figure
but
out your process.
I know,
but
this is the real thing. The real part of this has to do with, like, you know, everybody faces the fears. So if you got 3 projects back to back, that's a great problem, first of all.
Yes.
But then on the other side, it's like, okay, so this particular character has all of these extremes in this one direction and has to go through all these compromising situations. And as an actor, like if you're a person who internalizes a lot of that stuff, which I am, I'm going to go through that. And then immediately, you know, maybe there's a week or 2 weeks off, and then I start filming a different thing. And in the middle of that one thing, I have to go play a completely different character. And they're all features and they're all leads. It's a lot of pressure, like high pressure. And I've never, while I'm an experienced actor, I don't have experience in doing all those things at the same time. So I have to create a system. And that's what I'm really nervous about.
But that's why it comes to you, because you haven't done it before and you've done the things and you've stepped up, and now you're at a point where you're able to handle it. And that's why it's shown up. So I have complete faith in you, David. Like, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes right now as far as the type of the pit in your stomach that you might be feeling. But, you know, I know you'll handle it. So
Oh,
I'm
thank
very
you.
excited for you.
Well, I think you and I talked before about the one other thing that I would say in the past, two other things that I've done in the past that I would go back to do again. One of them is playing young Dwight D. Eisenhower in the movie Kazan's Game, going back to the Philippines where we lived for 5 years, working with the Rosen family, Dean, Lori, Matthew, Dylan, the Powerhouse family. They're just incredible. Producer, director, love them to death. Would go through the walls for them. Another wonderful group, just like the Salt Lake City group, just like the Chicago group, just like our friends in New York City. Like I'd do anything for these people. And when Jenny and I were in China, they called us up one day and they're like, hey, so we have a concept pilot that we want to shoot. When do you want to shoot? In 3 weeks. We asked our bosses in China, can we go to the Philippines in 3 weeks? Sure, you can go to the Philippines. Wow. You're going to come back though, right? Yes, we're going to come back. Okay, great. So went down for like 3 days, shot the concept pilot, went back. Why? Wow. Community building. Anyway, yeah. So I would go back. I would film that again. And oh yeah, and then the musical Marco Polo was a very sort of special development for me. Going to London, playing that role, originating it before the pandemic. That there was talks and discussions for a North American tour, targeting off Broadway as the final. So this could be a really cool thing. While I haven't been doing musicals for the last 5 years, it's very possible that you could come to New York and see me.
I think that's what I saw a clip of.
Maybe you did.
I don't think it was on yours. I think it was on someone else's website.
Somebody else. So that was the beginning of it. That was a development. Yeah. So we started. I thought it's got to be 6 or 7 years ago. Roger Chua had maybe 8-10 songs, and he started developing the whole musical. And so myself and a couple of other actors, we'd go in there and we'd play with him, and he'd try them out on our voices, and we'd play with some of the notes, and the orchestrations happened, and yeah, we performed it a bunch of times over those 5 years. There were different little stints, and then it went to the Shaw Theater off West End, and we performed there I think for 3 months, and then came back. So yeah, there's something really special about that, and that actually paralleled / mirrored our time in China, because we were in Nanjing and we experienced parts of the Silk Road, and that's the story of Marco Polo. He's a Westerner going to China. I was a Westerner going to China. And I always have this dream. The central characters have a love story where Marco Polo falls in love with Kogajin. They have beautiful love songs together. But I have this dream of performing opposite a fully Chinese cast, like legit Chinese cast in Chinese, in Mandarin, excuse me, and doing a hybrid version of it. And so, that's my secret hope, that I can do that.
That's awesome.
And when that happens, I hope you will come and check it out, whether it's a tour in China or a tour that comes through Salt Lake City or New York. I really hope for that. And the cool part about playing Marco Polo, his age, he in the film or in the play, he ages from 20 to 50. 50, 52, 55. So I think I have plenty of years of playing that character still.
Oh, that's awesome, David. I think we have an hour limit on here. I was trying to look at some of the changes so we're nearing that. I want to be able to give you the opportunity to let everyone that's watching, and there's been so many amazing people jumping in here, lots of wonderful comments in here, to know how to get to see more of you, get in touch with you. For those that are really motivated, really want to get in the business, really want to go for it, how they might be able to get you as a coach.
Well, I have a website, thedavidbianco.com. DavidBianco.com was taken, so it's the David
I didn't realize it's such a common name.
I didn't either, but I guess it's David Bianco, probably a real Italian. But yeah, the David Bianco. I also spend way too much time on Instagram, so if you want to reach me there and keep me away from my wife and kids longer, you can reach out to me there. We
Yeah,
did
so
have a
guilty.
discussion. We're putting a cap at 7 p.m. I'm putting the phone down. So if you try and reach out to me after that point, I'm not responding. But yeah, I would say, I think that there's a connect button on my Instagram. Go through Instagram. It's easy. Um, yeah, I'm excited about this, and I appreciate you taking the time to, Jen, you
Your
are
wife's
a
got
real
a
fan.
question for you.
But you know what I mean, Jen? There's an old man. He's like 95 in Italy in a little cafe. Like, this is his Instagram. He's got the David Bianco, and it's an
He's like,
yeah, it's an import-export wine business. Um,
MelanieBrowning.com is a furniture business.
is it really? No.
Yeah.
Case in point. So yeah, I mean, thedavidbianco.com. If people want to see me, yeah, Algea God of Pain will be out, I hope, in the next 6 months here. We have Magic Savior and Encounters, these 2 short films. They're hitting the festival circuit. We've submitted it to all the big ones. So hopefully we get
I'll
some.
get a list from you. I travel. I want to see it. So
I will. I'm shooting Good Sunday, which is a feature film up in Milwaukee with Swift Motion Pictures. Shout out to Ramon Sloan. I will be in Atlanta shooting science fiction, Saphir Monroe. Salute to you, brother. And then I'll be playing the pastor in Wayfaring Stranger, and that's going to be filming in Huntington. And shout out to Matt Webb and Lance Clark. Fun story about them real quick. Lance's mom is still alive, and I'm playing Lance's father in the story. It's based off of his life, and that's a little unique. And it's a great story, and follow the adventures on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David. Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you.
Thank you, family. Thank you, everyone, for joining in and watching. Fabulous, fabulous. And thank you for letting me use so much of your time.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. Let's do it again sometime soon.
Sounds wonderful. All right.
Okay.
Take care. Have a great night.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye.